guys, and welcome to the much delayed reviewish things of Boku no Hero Academia episode, I was about to say chapter, episode 4 and 5. 4 and 5, I think that's right, because I did 1 and then I did 2 and 3. I'm sorry about not doing it like last weekend and then not doing anything this weekend either, but stuff happened. Let's ignore that. And I know I have another Saturday where I won't be able to film either, so we're just gonna have to live with these clumped together videos where I talk about multiple episodes. But I mean, for this it's like fine, because it's like casual, and this works out because then I get to talk about the entire Cavalry Battle thing. Also, spoiler alert! If you are not caught up to the manga, I cannot promise that this video won't be spoilery because, as we established last time, most of you are manga readers, so it's stupid for me to assume that you aren't, and just avoid spoilers, so it's funnier or just more interesting if we talk as if we all know what's gonna happen later, so we can like analyze the episodes, like with characters and stuff like that. So they're kind of like my character analysis videos, but just focused on episodes and just like the things that happen in them and stuff like that. So it's more casual, a little bit more analytical, because I can like take stuff from like the future. I guess it's gonna be fun, hopefully. I promise I'm not gonna talk too much about Kacchan. I'm gonna talk about Todoroki and Deku and Ida, I think, in this this little video, and Kacchan, because I love to talk about Kacchan. We can't get around me talking about him, especially not in Summer Sports Festival. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm gonna stop. Because Kacchan is my life, apparently. Okay, but the Cavalry Battle. Okay, I really like the Cavalry Battle. Like, obviously, I like the entire Summer Sports Festival. I've said this before. It's my favorite arc. But the Cavalry Battle I really love because it's the only part of the thing that has focused on teamwork and with people's compatibility with each other in certain situations and stuff like that. So it's really interesting when we look at our 3 main teams, like Deku's team, Kacchan's team, and Todoroki's team, because they have their different ways of putting together their team. So if we start with Kacchan, and I promise I'm not going to talk about too much about that, but if we start with him, like, he literally makes a team just with the quirks that he likes, because as was established by Ashido, she was like, yeah, I was really only chosen by Boku because of my acid, and it's good against Todoroki. But that's like the good thing about Kacchan. He's very, he's tactical minded, even if he doesn't give off that vibe, but because he has a certain goal in his mind, he knows, he wants to take like the things that can make him reach that goal. And in a cavalry battle where you have to work with others, it was essentially good for him to have something that would work against Todoroki, who he sees as the strongest person in his class. And I was about to say obviously also something that works against Deku, but Kacchan is very focused on being able to win against Deku by himself, so that's obviously not that important. But he also then had Zero there because he had the tape, and Kacchan from the very beginning knew that he was gonna go off by himself and just fly around. So Zero was a very good thing to have there, and then of course Kirishima, we had the whole thing with him being the steady horse, which is so great that we have this scene now that we've just had that other scene in the manga from 2 chapters ago, where you had the entire Kirishima thing where he was kind of uncertain with his quirk, and Bakugo reminded him of what he said in the very beginning of the Cavalry Battle, where he said, I'm gonna be the horse that never crumbles, and just, it's really great that these things are coming together so well. I really like that. Kind of like with the things that are happening in Attack on Titan, where the manga and the anime are kind of like coinciding, but that's not as fun as this. Never mind that though. But yeah, I really like that we see this side of Kacchan, because as angry as he is in these 2 episodes, he did think very tactical in choosing his team and how he was moving around and stuff like that, even if he got like with Monoma. I hate him so much I can't even say his name right. This guy just pisses me the fuck off. Like, oh my god, Jesus Christ. Like, I understand Bakugo's outrage at this guy. He was like, he's the worst. I hate him so much. And it fits him so well to have like a copycat quirk, because it's not like an individual quirk, he steals others. So it's like he has this really annoying personality, and he doesn't have anything unique about him because his quirk is just copying others' quirk. Like, yeah, I really hate him, but I like the concept of him because it's really great. I just really can't. I hate him a lot. And I know a lot of people hate him too, so. Sorry if you're one of the few people who like him, I don't know. But yeah, going to Todoroki. Todoroki's team is like, wow. Todoroki's team is made of elites and Kaminari. Like, literally. It's him and Momo and then Ida, who are all like from these big ass families, and then you have Kaminari, who of course, like, it makes sense because just like Kacchan, Todoroki chose a team where he knew what they could do and how they would help him in getting the 10 million from Deku and stuff like that. And of course Ida is a great asset because of his speed. Momo can literally make anything, and Kaminari is the good offense I talked about, and then you have Todoroki, who's an all-rounder. So again, he chose a really good team, very much focused on going on the offense because that's what he knew he was going to do. Unlike Deku, who chose a team very much for the opposite, like he wanted something defensive, something that would allow him to run away quickly, hence Uraraka with her zero gravity. Tokoyami, as he told him to mainly use his quirk for defense, and then Hatsumeme, who obviously had all these gadgets like the jetpack and the hover boots that all allowed them to like maneuver really quickly and get away because they would be the #1 target. So I really liked how they all focused on different things. So you have Kacchan focusing on taking down Todoroki and Deku, Todoroki focusing on taking down Deku, and then Deku just focusing on keeping that 10 million, which he in the end didn't. But that makes a lot of sense because it would be kind of boring if he succeeded so early. Also because I really liked also how in the beginning he was like, yes, I'm gonna have Ida and Uraraka on my team, because even though they are his friends, it makes a lot of sense to have those two together because, again, with Uraraka with her zero gravity and then Ida with the quick maneuvering thing, that's just like a really good combo for a person who wants to run away from all the problems, right? So it makes a lot of sense that he wants to have those two people, and of course because he's on good terms with them. But then when he can't have Ida, I think that's really good as well, because that forces him to work with other things and the things that he knows of. So he has Hatsume, who he's literally only just met, and Tokoyami, who's in his class, but they aren't really like, we haven't really seen them interact. So it's great that he is forced to think on the spot and think, okay, how can I use these quirks and their abilities for my benefit? How can I use these weird gadgets? How can I use Tokoyami's quirk for defense, and how is it going to be able to like help me in this situation and stuff like that? I think that's really great because Deku is a character who's very much known for thinking ahead and having a plan. And up until this point, if his plan has been foiled, he tends to kind of like not deal with it too well. Like, we haven't really seen too much of that because it's still in the beginning of this series, but it's really good for him to like know that even if he can't have his plan A, he can always fall back on a plan B, and he can always use the things around him in the best possible manner, because he was very much down on the first test where he won because he thought it was mostly luck because he found the middle piece and he was lucky that he could use it. But here he kind of proves to himself that it's not just luck, it's because he knows that he has the ability to be able to take the things that he has at his availability, I guess, and he knows how to work with what he's given. I think that's really great for him to acknowledge that he has that ability, and it's not just that he's lucky or he works well with people he knows, but he can use whatever is around him because he's smart like that. So I thought that was really great. Now, I said I wanted to talk about Ida, because Ida in the episode 4, I think it must be, he rejects Deku, obviously because he's already found a team with Todoroki, but because he wants to challenge Deku, because up until this point he's always seen Deku as someone who's above him, because of a lot of different things, right? We all know this, we've read the manga, we've seen up until this point, I don't know why I'm telling you this. But I think it's really great for Ida to show his independence, but not necessarily in like the I am the class rep leader kind of way, because he's still technically under Todoroki, like Todoroki's the one giving the orders, but Ida makes a choice to go to Todoroki's team, I guess, who he knows will be against Deku because Todoroki wants the 10 million, it would make sense, he wants to win, prove to himself and his father that he can win only with his eyes. I'm gonna get into Todoroki a little later. But it's really great for Ida to take Deku up as his rival, because Ida, as we know, is very much like he wants to live up to a certain type of image, the image of his brother, of this great hero who helps others, but a great rivalry helps you grow a lot, and that's one of the things that Ida really needs at this point. And going into the next arc, I think that the individuality that he gains and the independence that he gains in these episodes, just in the Summer Sports Festival, helps him a lot in the next arc and later in their series. But yeah, definitely in the next arc as well, because he has some missteps in the next arc, as we all know. Like, I'm not gonna talk too much about that because we're gonna get into that in this season. But I think that these two arcs are like the groundwork for Ida's character, so he started off kind of not empty, because Ida's a really great character. I really like Ida. Like, I don't think he's in my top 5 or anything, but he's a good character. Like, I generally just really love Class A. But he really starts to like form his character in these two arcs because of the decisions he makes and the drive he has to prove himself, not just to his brother but just to himself, to realize that he can be more than just the image of his brother, but he can also be like the rival of Deku while still being his friend and stuff like that. So I think that's really great. I think I'm probably gonna end up talking more about Ida when we get into the Stain arc, because that's his arc. But yeah, I like how Ida's character takes off like already here, because that means that even though this is Todoroki's arc, more or less, right? Like, this is his character arc, we still are setting up for Ida's arc that's coming in the next one. Because the thing is with this arc, we talk about it a lot as a Todoroki arc, but a lot of characters have some really great development, some really great character scenes, and we all know this as well. Like, we call it Todoroki's arc because we get the most exposition of him in this arc, but we all know that this is definitely one of the arcs where Uraraka as a character just like skyrockets up the list of good characters, and of course Deku, the main character, is just like, he develops all the time. Kacchan, I've said this before, this was the arc that made him my number 1 character, and I knew he would never fall from my number 1 unless he becomes a villain. So, I mean, and again, I just love Kacchan so much, but yeah. But leading into Kacchan, now I can talk about it. If you don't want me to hear me ramble about him for the next 10 minutes, I guess, or whatever long there is left of this video, just stop now. Subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like, and yeah. I'm gonna talk about Kacchan now. So Kacchan, what I want to talk about in this is basically when he says the line, I want to be the indisputable number 1 or something in that of that manner. Because what I want to talk about is the difference between Kacchan and Deku in their regards to being the number 1 hero, and their regards to winning and losing, and just their mentality when it comes to like competing and stuff like that. Because the difference, like the main difference in Kacchan and Deku, because while they both want to win, they both want to be the best type of hero. They're also like, of course there's a main difference between Kacchan being the I really want to beat up villains kind of hero, and Deku who's like the I want to help other people kind of hero. Which, again, going to what just happened with the two of them fighting in the manga, that's something they had to work on, because they need to be able to be both kinds of heroes if they want to be number 1. But that, we're gonna talk about that at some other point, I presume. But the difference between the two, which I always found really interesting, is that Kacchan is a type of character who wants to win. Like, he wants to know that he stands above everyone else, and he needs to know that he became number 1 of his own merit. there's nothing like that he needs to know that he won in a situation where in no other circumstances, like if just one tiny little detail changed, like if the weather changed or something like that, he would still have won. He needs to know that. He needs to know that no matter what, he stands at number one. Whereas Deku, he's more of like in the personal victory kind of type. So he's like, if I did my very best and I knew that no matter what I could never do any better than this, then I'm content with where I am. Like he could, yeah, if it's a tournament, he could place like at the bottom of the tournament and he could still be content with where he placed because he knew he did the best he could. Like he acknowledged there's room for improvement and stuff like that, but he'd take it as a learning experience. Whereas Kacchan, he could win, as we know happens in this tournament, and he could still be unsatisfied because he doesn't win on the terms that he wants to win on. He wins because Todoroki essentially gives up on fighting him. Which is something I really like already being like hinted at in this episode. Like we knew this from the beginning, that this is a very basic trait of Kacchan's, but the fact that he says in this episode, like, it's not just about getting back the points that he lost and just like annihilating Monoma, whatever his name is. It's also about getting the 10 million from Deku, and it's also about showing Todoroki that he's better than him. It's about showing Deku that he's better than him. It's not enough just being number one. He wants everyone to know that he's number one, and he wants no one to be able to touch him. This comes back to some of his insecurities, which I'm gonna talk about whenever I get to the Kacchan analysis video, but yeah. Another topic. I'm not gonna start that discussion today. And I just like that really in contrast to Deku, because he's very much like, yeah, it's again in the way that he fights in the Cavalry Battle, like he has the 10 million, he's pretty much content with where he is, so he just, instead of like saying, okay, I could just steal more headbands because it'd be safer, because even if my 10 million was stolen, I still have some left, or I want to show people that I'm better than them by still being able to take headbands even though everyone's after me. Like he just decides to stay where he is and say, okay, I'm just gonna keep to myself and like keep the points that I have now and not go after anyone else until I eventually lose this headband. Just like the contrast between the two characters, because this shows why these two are main characters. Like again, of course, Deku is the main character, but I think, and I've said this before, like Kacchan is the other main character. He's the foil to Deku, his greatest rivalry, his somehow weird friend, and they have this weird bully-victim relationship, which is really odd because Deku still looks up to Kacchan, and Kacchan doesn't understand why Deku is why he is, and all that really fun stuff. And now analyzing those two characters is just like my greatest pleasure. But yeah, I really like how you just, everything about these two characters is so different while still being the same. So they are still both aiming for number one, but their attitudes towards it is just completely different. I love that concept so much. And it just shows the depth of these characters, that you can have people be so similar. So you have Kacchan and Deku aiming for the number one hero, being inspired by All Might, and just being so similar in their approach to things, and yet still being so different in their approach to things, because it's like they have completely different attitudes and opinions about a lot of different things. So yeah, I just love that a lot. Yeah, I didn't talk about Todoroki as much as I would have loved to, but I know that I'll probably have my chance, especially when we go into next week, because now we have the talk between Deku and Todoroki coming in, and we get to see more about Todoroki's backstory, and just him. And I think I'm gonna talk about how awkward and just socially inept Todoroki is, because as elite as he is, he has some like basic human functions that aren't quite working. Like he's a bit ditzy, is that the word I'm looking for? I'm not entirely sure. He's a bit, yeah. Todoroki is a funny character to analyze as well, because he's like the living example of being like a really smart guy and a genius, but just like socially awkward. So yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of fun with that in the next few episodes, I think. But I'm gonna end this here because I don't want this to get too long. So if you're stuck with me until the end, you can leave a thumbs up if you like anything I had to say. Leave in the comments below what you thought of these two episodes, and you can subscribe if you want to see more. Until next time, bye!